Hello, welcome to the Daily Present. And this week, my theme is live streaming. And so today, I want to talk about how to look good on your live streams. Now, I'm not talking about that turn you into looking like a model or a screen actor or anything fancy like that. Well, look at me. I mean, what am I going to tell you? But I can tell you how to look your best on live streams for sure. And so if that's going to be interesting for you, and listen, just for live streams, for videos, for anything you do, maybe online, for your Zoom meetings, anything like that, how do you look your best? I'm going to give you 3 simple tips. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Daily Present with Johnny Ball. Monday to Friday, talking about public speaking and presentation skills and the tools of influence and persuasion. Dance along now.
Wow! Come on, groove it over. That's it, baby. I know.
I wonder if I'm the only person that actually does dance along to that intro, but I love it. It gets me pumped up, gets me in the mood for things there. So I hope you do. And today I'm talking about how to look good on live stream. My name is Johnny Ball. I am the host of the Daily Present, and of course, I am the host of some podcasts as well. If you haven't checked those out, I have a show that has been running for about 1.5 years now, and coming up to we're on our way to 100 episodes, but a little while to go yet. And it's called Speaking of Influence. It's all about presentation skills, public speaking, tools of influence and persuasion. Please do check it out. I have had some amazing guests on that show, and lots of really interesting people as well, and fantastic conversations. Please enjoy it. There's a new episode coming out today with Dr. Laurie Baker-Shenner, and we are talking about how to elevate your communication. So make sure you're subscribed. If you love your podcast, you'll love this one, I'm pretty sure. And if you like the sound of my voice, then you'll get to hear plenty of it. I have a new show, which is called Points of Change. It's been out just over a month, and it's already doing really well. And that's much more about coaching and tools of life transformation. I have a show out this week with a new guest, and I have to remember her name now. Her name is Jessica de la Morena, and she was amazing. She has a website called You Are the Hero, with a U, not with Y-O-U, and You Are the Hero. And that's all about stories of coming through, triumphing through life's adversities, and finding the things that get you through these times and staying positive, and how to turn what could be tragic or difficult situations and circumstances into something good. Really great episode. She's a fantastic person to check out. I hope you'll enjoy that too. We're here today, though, for the Daily Present. And if you're not already following me on YouTube, here's how you can do that. Check out the channel. It's called Present Influence. Give us a like on the video. Please click subscribe. And if you click the bell icon, you will get notified every time we go live, or when there's a new video coming up. Put out educational content as well as live streams. I am speaking a bit later today with Ash Borland, who is a personal branding expert. I actually recorded an episode with Ash months ago, but just ended up with so many podcast episodes that it's just been a bit outdated. I thought, well, there's no point putting this out now. We've got new information, and Ash is much more progressed with what he's doing, so let's bring him on live, so you can join us a bit later on. We will be chatting live on these channels as well, so look out for that. We're here to talk today about how to look good on your live streams or your videos, your Zoom calls, whatever it is you're doing. And I have 3 simple tips for you. 3, count them. And just want to keep it easy. There are more things you could do. I just want to give you 3 things that you could do now that will help you to look a bit better on your live streams, on your videos. The first one is your camera position. I still see, even though we've been doing Zoom and everything else for, I don't know, over a year now, right? I mean, I still see people who have their cameras situated where they're looking up from their desk. So you're seeing right up, you can count people's nostril hairs in some cases, and it's not a good look. It really isn't a good look. For many of us, it's like gives real focus to those extra chins that we might have, or for anything going on down here, rather than what's going on here at eye level. Now, should you have your camera at eye level? Well, I'd say a little bit above that. You want your camera just slightly looking down on you, so you can see the position we have here. It is a good idea, if you can, probably can do this myself a bit more. It is a good idea to get yourself in a position where you can be seen on the upper part of your body at least. And so to aim for that. So I could actually do a bit better here with my camera position. Let's see if we can adjust that a little bit and get you to see me So get my head nearer the top of the screen. This is a good one, actually. So you have your head a bit nearer the top of the screen. I'll move that microphone a little bit out of the way so that you can see most of the upper part of your body. You can actually see some hand movement when you can do that. It's going to allow you that capability and give you the potential to really have a good look on camera that people can feel like they're almost there with you. Whereas if it's just your head or if it's looking right up your nose, something like that, we never have that really. There's maybe only a couple of times in life where you find yourself staring up somebody's nostrils, and none of those are where you want to be on your live streams or your videos. So please avoid that. Give yourself a good camera position. I find I use a webcam, and it's just clipped onto the top of my computer screen, and that seems to work pretty well. But if you're on a laptop and you're clipping your webcam or you're using your webcam from there, I recommend you get a stand so that you can raise up your laptop and have the webcam at a higher position, or use a separate webcam and put it on a stand so that you can keep it at a position. Now, I know that's not always practical in every situation. However, there are some very affordable stands that are very transportable, collapsible, that you can take with you. Really, these days, there's very little excuse for not looking good on your camera, on your Zoom calls, on your live streams, other than not paying attention to it and not bothering with it. So that is my top #1 tip, to make sure your camera's in a good position. The next thing would be background. So think about your background here. Now, this is a virtual background. In fact, this isn't the background I even wanted for today. So if I change to the background that I have now created for the show, which is the one I should have switched it to, I'm doing well today. Didn't get enough sleep last night, clearly. So here is the background that I now have for the show, a new one that I created. Just make sure it looks nice. It should look good, but it shouldn't be too distracting. So you don't really want it to detract away from you or what you're talking about, but it should be representative of you. Like, I think this kind of looks a bit cozy. It looks relaxed and still fairly professional, not too formal, and has a nice image behind me of my Daily Present podcast image that goes out as well. So you can have a virtual background by all means, but I say if you're going to do virtual backgrounds, here is an important thing: have a green screen. A lot of people. I actually had this conversation with a very expert podcaster and video interview person the other day. She's a very high level influencer, and she was saying that she's been thinking about getting it, but she sees how bad some people look on green screen, and that's put her off doing it. And she was asking me, well, how does yours look so good? And the simple answer is that I have a proper green screen. And she said, oh, what is it? Show me, what's the make and model? It's a green blanket hanging behind me. That's all it is. I have a frame and a green blanket, or you could paint a wall green, or just pin a green blanket or a sheet or green card to your wall. You can have a green screen really cheaply. Look, there are collapsible green screens. They are really great, and they're not that easy to transport, unfortunately, because they tend to be quite big, but they can be really good. And if you are thinking that you'd like to have a green screen, it does offer you this capability to have different environments and put yourself in different places that can be really good. So I do tend to use different backgrounds depending on what shows I'm doing, or whether I'm being interviewed. So quite often, for example, I will maybe have my office background if I'm doing something a bit sort of like boardroomish, or I'll have something that perhaps is, let's see, I've got this one. This is like where I pretend I have a very posh office. Well, my office is very nice, but it's maybe not what you'd class as posh. Or if I'm doing a performance, I might put my curtains up and make it a bit more stagey. So you can really play with these virtual backgrounds and get one that you feel is most appropriate for you. I'm trying to get back to the virtual background that I most want now, which is the one I have. What I'll say with this, guidelines on your virtual backgrounds: light it well, because otherwise, if you don't have good lighting for your virtual backgrounds, it can end up looking really super grainy. Even with this is coming through Ecamm Live, and there is a tiny bit of grain, perhaps more than I would get usually doing Zoom, and something as the technology improves, that will probably become less and less. But for the most part, it's fairly unnoticeable. And I know that when I've had, like, I had a chat on my podcast a little while back on Speaking of Influence with a lady called Shelley Golden. And Shelley is an expert, an image expert. She helps people specifically to look good on camera, to look good on their Zoom calls and the likes. And she's fantastic at what she does. And she gave some great tips and advice. And so these, some of these I'm able to bring from what she shared on that show. And definitely about having good lighting, just make sure it's effective. I had Mike Michalowicz on ages ago as well. And Mike talked about this as well, like, whilst doing so much stuff online now, that it's worth paying a little bit of money to a lighting expert to come and give you some guidance on what lighting will work best for you in your environment. Here's what to avoid, though, whether you're using virtual backgrounds or not. If you have natural light, like I have big windows in front of me, and right now the shutters are down on them so that I can control the light. But a few weeks back, I had to wait for these shutters to be installed. I didn't have that much control over the light, so I was having to put black card over the windows so that I could control the light a bit more. You do need to be able to do that, but don't have that behind you. If you have natural light behind you, it's going to make your image on camera look really blurred, and it makes you very hard to see. And believe me, I've had guests turn up to my show, and you can probably see this if you find any of them on YouTube. I've had guests turn up to the show who have natural light behind them. And what can also happen with that, if they have a big window behind them, or you have a big window behind you, you've probably seen this on TV, on live shows and the likes. People may walk past the window or might realize that you're filming something and do something stupid in the background, and you may have very little idea of it because you're paying attention to whatever it is you're doing. So be aware of these things and have good lighting. You can set up your lighting really well these days for fairly minimal costs. In fact, I think on the episode I did with Shelley Golden, she gave a few tips for lighting that you could do with, all you'd need to buy is a few Post-it notes and a standard lamp kind of thing. That's tips that anybody could do, and you can make yourself at least look better on camera. And I remember, if I remember rightly, she was suggesting using like pink or rose-colored Post-it notes to cover a lamp with, or yellow ones, and use those to blend colors to make yourself look more natural on camera. So those are some really good tips. There's so much you can do with lighting. I would say it's worth investing a little bit of time and even money in making sure, especially if you're doing this stuff professionally, that you look as good as possible when you're doing your live streams with the lighting, something that you can easily have set up. So that's the third thing, lighting. I have lighting on the green screen. I have my ring light in front of me. It's important to know ring lights are really great, and you've probably seen these. And there's these new ones now that have multicolors on them as well, so you can probably have much more control over how you look. I haven't tried that yet. I will play with that at some point in the future. I think they're about €50 or $50 sort of price range for some basic ones. And they seem pretty good, and so you can really change the whole nature and scene of what you've got if you have that color option as well. However, with the one I have, it's like a white or a yellow option, so you have some control over that. You can of course put filters and covers over lights to control the color and the intensity. Most of them have dials on them that you can do that. I'd say don't get the cheapest that you can get. I tend to have Neewer, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Neewer is fairly inexpensive, but pretty decent quality, and you'll often find that those are the ones you'll see everywhere anyway. They seem to be a pretty reputable and trusted brand, so I would recommend them. I think all of my studio lighting is from Neewer, and rarely have any issues with any of it. So in fact, I don't think I ever have. Have good lighting and make sure that you light yourself as well as possible. And it's that adage you often hear on TV shows and films, like it's all good lighting. Makeup is only one part of it, and I'm not suggesting you need to wear makeup if you don't want to, but many will, and that's men and women. If you find wearing makeup helps you to look better on camera, great. It's not necessarily a tip I would recommend to everybody, because I don't for a start, and I think I look okay on camera. But there are things you can do, of course, to touch up your appearance. Maybe makeup would help. Maybe a face mask or I don't know, maybe a carrier bag would help. But whatever it is, make yourself look as good as you possibly can. The goal here isn't to turn you into a god or goddess. You may already be that, or you may not be, but just to look the best that you can look on camera. And believe me, some people look horrors on camera when they don't have to, either from having those bad positions, bad lighting, bad camera level, whatever it is, terrible or distracting backgrounds. The goal here is to look as good as you possibly can. So it is what I have to say. Take care of your appearance. Look appropriate for what you're doing. We don't all have to be dressed to the nines or anything like that, unless that's appropriate for what you're putting out. But do take a bit of care over your appearance, and don't turn up looking like you've just dragged yourself out of bed, unless that's the look that you're going for. But most of us could do it. Like, for me, I never thought as I grew up that I would end up having to brush my face, but that was long before I ever had a beard. But taking a bit of time to brush my hair, brush my mustache and beard, and de-oil my skin and things like that, make me feel better on camera. Make me feel like, okay, I don't feel so shiny. I don't feel so like I'm giving glare off, and I think I look okay. Cleaning my glasses and things like that. It's all good things to prepare for that. Lighting tip that I must remember as well is, if you wear glasses, this is an important one. If you have your ring light, if you're using a ring light, if you have that right in front of you, it's going to reflect off your glasses, and people do this all the time. You still want to have your face lit, of course. Put it higher. Just put it higher up. So if I lift my glasses up, you can see my ring light is there. But if I'm looking normal level or looking at my camera, hopefully you're not seeing that reflected, or very little reflection there. So you can still see my eyes, which is really what we want. We want to be able to have that eye contact with the camera, make love to the camera, as they say. And so to maintain that and to not get that glare off your cameras, just raise your ring light a bit higher. If you don't wear glasses, this probably isn't an issue for you, and probably doesn't even affect contact lenses and things like that. But those are my 3 tips for looking good on live streams and videos. And if you're thinking about trying a live stream, then I would recommend Restream. I use it, and Restream actually allows you to be able to broadcast the stream to 30+ different social media platforms all at the same time. I switched over to it this year. I love it. I was using, I think I was using StreamYard before, which is still very good, but Restream offered even more possibilities, and has just worked really, really well with my needs, and I would recommend them. I think they have much more in terms of an affordability level, and being the channels that you can actually put out your streams to. You will probably find you have a lot more here as well, and you can earn yourself a $10 Restream credit just by trying it out and doing your first live stream. So I highly recommend that. You can find the link in the description, the one on the screen, because you probably can't click on it on the screen. But if you're thinking of giving live stream and go, if you want help with your live streams, if you want help being ready for that and setting this stuff up, then drop me a line. I'll see what I can do to help you, or help you at least get started. And if you want more help beyond that, let's have a chat. But right now, let's wrap things up for today. I think it's time to get on with things, get back to work. Have an amazing day, everyone. I will be back to, tomorrow, Saturday, right? I might, we'll see, but probably back on Monday, and we'll see you very soon. Have an amazing week. Go and make good things happen.
Thanks for tuning in. Remember to like and subscribe, and make sure you follow me on social media. Check out my other shows, Speaking of Influence and Points of Change. And wherever you are, have an amazing day. Time to get back to work.